welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at something really practical, upgrading your vocabulary. We got some great material from a listener about moving beyond those, simple words we all use.
At everyday ones, yeah.
Exactly. Toward more professional alternatives, stuff that can really sharpen how you communicate, especially when it counts.
Right.
So our goal here is to help you find a more powerful, maybe more nuanced way to express yourself.
Absolutely. And we all have those words we lean on, don't we? Our sort of linguistic comfort zones.
For sure.
But what this source material really brings out is how staying there can, limit your impact.
Oh, so.
Well, relying too much on words like very or good, bad, nice, big, the ones.
Classics.
It can make your language sound a bit repetitive, maybe even less sophisticated than you actually are, especially in professional settings.
Okay, let's dig into that. Why does it really matter? I mean, people understand good, right?
They do, but
Yeah.
the material we're looking at, it really stresses how using these basic words over and over makes your communication feel, a bit flat.
Flat.
Yeah. Think about always saying something positive was good. It just doesn't have much punch, does it?
No, I guess not. Especially if you're trying to really emphasize something important in, say, a meeting or a report.
Precisely. It can make you sound less persuasive, almost like you're not quite conveying the full weight of what you mean.
Right. Like you don't have the words for it.
Exactly. And, if you think bigger picture, communication is so key for showing intelligence, confidence, even leadership potential.
Sure.
So having a richer vocabulary lets you articulate your thoughts, your ideas with more precision, more impact.
So this deep dive promises a powerful vocabulary upgrade.
That's the plan. That's what we're aiming to explore.
All right, let's get specific then. The first area the source covers is intensifiers. And the big one is very.
Ah, yes. Very.
We all use it all the time to add emphasis. But the issue, as the source points out, is just how often we use it.
It's like salt, maybe. Good in moderation, but...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Overwhelming if it's in every single sentence. So what alternatives should we be thinking about to, add a bit more flavor?
Well, what's interesting are the suggested replacements. For very, the material offers extremely, exceptionally, and highly.
Okay.
And think about the subtle shift. Instead of, it's very cold today, you could say.
It's extremely cold today.
Right. It just conveys a more intense coldness. Or, she is very talented. Become.
Exceptionally talented. Sounds like she really stands out.
Exactly. It suggests something beyond the norm, and I'm very interested in this project. Could be.
Highly interested. Implies stronger engagement, maybe.
That's the idea. It's a subtle lift, but it's noticeable.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, moving on. General positive words. The focus here is on good.
Another workhorse word.
Definitely. But like you said, good is just so broad. It doesn't really tell you what kind of good.
Right. It lacks specificity.
So what are some more precise options the source gives?
It suggests excellent, outstanding, and superb.
Okay. Excellent, outstanding, superb.
And think about the different shades of meaning. You did a good job is fine. It's perfectly okay. But you did an outstanding job that suggests you really went above and beyond expectations.
Right. It's a stronger compliment.
Definitely. Or the service was good. Adequate, sure. But the service was excellent. That implies real quality.
Makes sense.
And instead of it's a good opportunity, maybe try it's a superb opportunity. That emphasizes how exceptional it is.
Yeah, that really changes the weight of it, doesn't it? Okay, next up. General negative descriptors. And the word is bad.
Similar problem to good.
Yeah.
Bad is just bad. It doesn't tell you how bad or why.
Right. No nuance. So what alternatives give us a clearer picture of the negativity?
The source suggests terrible, unacceptable, and poor.
Okay.
So if the weather isn't just kind of bad, but it's truly awful, maybe causing problems.
Then terrible fits much better. The weather is terrible.
Exactly. Or if an idea isn't just ill-advised, but it's fundamentally flawed, maybe goes against rules or standards.
Then unacceptable conveys that clearly. This is an unacceptable idea.
Right. And for something below standard in quality, like performance, poor is more specific than just bad.
His performance was poor. Yeah, that gives more context. Okay, let's talk subjective positive feelings. The word is nice.
Nice. The ultimate vague compliment.
It really is versatile, isn't it? But, like the source says, super vague could mean friendly, pleasant, pretty. Who knows?
Exactly. It doesn't nail down the specific positive quality.
So what can we use instead to be clearer?
The alternatives offered are pleasant, delightful, and charming.
Okay.
So you're talking about someone's personality. She's a pleasant person. Suggests she's agreeable, easy to be around.
More specific than just nice.
Definitely. And instead of we had a nice evening, we had a delightful evening. That implies it was really memorable, highly enjoyable.
Oh, I like delightful.
And for a place like a town, calling it charming evokes that quaintness, that appeal, that nice just doesn't capture.
Right. These words definitely paint a clearer picture. Okay, now let's tackle size. Big and small.
Basics?
Yeah. Big is another super common one. What are some alternatives that give a better sense of scale or impact?
For big, the source gives us huge, massive, and enormous.
Huge, massive, enormous.
And think about the scale each one suggests. That's a massive building. Really emphasizes the immense size, much more than just big.
Right.
Or if you're dealing with a really significant problem, huge implications. Calling it an enormous problem highlights how overwhelming it is.
Yeah, enormous problem sounds serious.
And calling a decision huge underscores its importance, its potential impact. It's a huge decision.
Okay, got it. And what about the other end? For small, how can we describe different degrees of smallness?
For small, we have tiny, miniature, and minute.
Tiny, miniature, minute? Okay.
So if it's a mistake, but it's really inconsequential, a tiny mistake gets that across.
Right. Hardly matters.
Exactly. If you're describing, say, a model or a replica, miniature emphasizes that scaled down size. A miniature ring. And if you're talking about a detail that's almost invisible, really fine. Calling it a minute detail highlights just how small it is, perhaps even insignificant.
Minute. Like minute.
Precisely. M-I-N-U-T-E. It emphasizes the fineness.
Okay. These distinctions are really helpful for adding precision. Let's shift to emotions now, starting with happy.
Okay.
It's fundamental, obviously, but sometimes we want to express a more specific kind of happiness, right? What alternatives offer that nuance?
For happy, the source gives us joyful, delighted, and content.
Joyful, delighted, content.
So if you're really, really pleased with something, like results, saying you're delighted with the results is stronger than just happy.
Conveys more pleasure.
Right. If someone is really enthusiastic about helping out, joyful to assist emphasizes that eager willingness. And if someone's feeling, a sense of peaceful satisfaction, acceptance, she feels content now, captures that specific, quiet happiness.
That's a great way to break down those subtle differences. Now, the flip side, sad, like happy, that's a broad term. When might we use a more specific alternative to convey different levels or types of sadness?
The source offers miserable, sorrowful, and depressed.
Okay, those sound more intense.
They are. If someone looks deeply unhappy, maybe really suffering, miserable conveys that strong sense of discomfort. She looked miserable.
Right. More than just sad.
Yeah, if a story is filled with grief and loss, calling it a sorrowful story is more impactful. Evokes deeper sadness.
Sorrowful. Okay.
And if someone's in a more prolonged state of low mood, loss of interest, saying they're feeling depressed reflects that more serious, persistent state. Though, use that one carefully, obviously.
Understood. These are powerful distinctions. Let's shift gears again. Intelligence. Starting with smart. We use smart generally, right? But are there more maybe professional alternatives that highlight different facets of intelligence?
Yes, the source gives us intelligent, brilliant, and astute.
Intelligent, brilliant, astute.
So, while smart is fine casually, intelligent often sounds a bit more formal, referring to a general capacity for learning and understanding.
Right.
If someone comes up with a really clever, ingenious solution, calling it a brilliant solution highlights how exceptional it is.
Brilliant. Yeah, that feels stronger.
And if someone's really sharp, practical, shrewd, especially in business, astute captures that specific kind of insightful intelligence. An astute businessman.
Astute. That's a good one. Really insightful. Each word highlights something different. Now, what about the opposite? Dumb. The source offers alternatives here too. Probably useful, even if we hope not to use them too often.
Indeed. For dumb, the alternatives are foolish, unwise, and ignorant.
Foolish, unwise, ignorant.
So, if an action shows really poor judgment, lacks sense. Foolish is more descriptive than just dumb. That was a foolish move.
Right.
If you're cautioning someone against a bad decision, don't be unwise, sounds a bit more thoughtful maybe than just don't be dumb.
Yeah, less blunt.
And if someone is acting out of a lack of knowledge or awareness on a topic, saying they're acting ignorantly points more directly to the reason.
Got it. Definitely more constructive ways to put it. Okay, difficulty. Starting with easy. We used easy constantly. What are some ways to sound a bit more professional when something isn't complex or demanding?
The source suggests simple, effortless, and straightforward.
Simple, effortless, straightforward.
So if a test is clearly laid out, no tricks. This test is straightforward, works well.
Oh, wait, clear structure.
Right. If something requires very little mental work to grasp, it's simple to understand, emphasizes that lack of complexity.
Simple to understand, yeah.
And if a task requires almost no physical or mental exertion, effortless highlights that lack of strain. The task was effortless.
Those are good nuances for lack of difficulty.
Yeah.
Now, what about hard?
The opposite challenge.
Right. When something takes real effort or presents big challenges, what are some more professional ways to describe that?
For hard, we have difficult, challenging, and tough.
Difficult, challenging, tough.
So an exam needing a lot of knowledge and thought. That exam was difficult, is precise.
Okay.
A situation with obstacles that require real ingenuity and resilience, that's a challenging situation.
Challenging. Implies you need to rise to it.
Exactly. And if training is really demanding, physically or mentally, calling it tough conveys that need for endurance. The training is tough.
It's all about finding the word that best fits the type of difficulty. Okay, speed. Starting with fast. When something moves quickly, what are some more sophisticated ways to describe that pace?
The alternatives for fast are rapid, swift, and speedy.
Rapid, swift, speedy.
So if the internet connection is really high rate, the internet is rapid, sounds a bit more technical, maybe emphasizes the pace.
Level.
A response that's immediate, no delay. His response was swift, highlights that promptness.
Swift. Yeah, quick and efficient.
And speedy is just a good general alternative for fast. The
Okay.
car is speedy. Maybe implies it's a characteristic of the car.
Gotcha. And the opposite of fast, slow. What are more descriptive alternatives when something lacks speed?
For slow, the source offers sluggish, unhurried, and delayed.
Sluggish, unhurried, delayed.
So if service is inefficient, below par in speed, sluggish conveys that lack of pace, that drag. The service was sluggish.
Sluggish, yeah, you can almost feel it.
Right. If someone is speaking deliberately, taking their time, they spoke in an unhurried manner, calm, measured.
Unhurried, nice.
And if a project is behind schedule because of problems, it's simply delayed.
Delay, clear and factual. Okay, these are really helpful for precision with speed.
Yeah.
Let's move to importance, the word important.
A very important word.
Ah, indeed. Crucial in professional context, right? So having more precise words here seems key. What are the alternatives?
The source provides crucial, significant, and vital.
Crucial, significant, vital.
So a decision that has a huge, decisive impact on the outcome, a crucial decision.
Crucial, like a turning point.
Exactly. A meeting that carries real weight, has noticeable effects. That's a significant meeting.
Significant, okay.
And something absolutely necessary for survival or success, like health for well-being. That's vital.
Vital, essential, yeah. These words really rank the importance level. Okay, now engagement. The word interesting. Something might hold our attention, sure. But there are different ways it can be engaging. What are some stronger alternatives?
The alternatives offered are fascinating, engaging, and compelling.
Fascinating, engaging, compelling.
So a book that really grabs you sparks deep curiosity. It's fascinating.
More than just interesting.
Right. A lecture that doesn't just present info, but actively involves you. That's engaging.
Engaging, makes you part of it.
Yes. And a story that powerfully holds your attention, maybe convinces you of something, that's compelling.
Compelling. Hard to look away. These really highlight different aspects of grabbing attention. Okay, strength, starting with strong.
Right. Can be physical or metaphorical.
Exactly. Resilience, influence, what are some alternatives?
For strong, we have powerful, robust, and resilient.
Powerful, robust, resilient.
So a leader with considerable influence, a powerful leader.
Powerful.
Material that's durable, hard to break. It's robust.
Robust. Sounds sturdy.
And someone with mental fortitude who bounces back from setbacks. They're mentally resilient.
Resilient. A great quality. And the opposite, weak. How can we describe a lack of strength with more nuance?
The source provides fragile, delicate, and feeble.
Fragile, delicate, feeble.
So a bridge likely to break easily. It's fragile.
Fragile. Easily broken.
Someone's health that's precarious, easily compromised. It's delicate.
Delicate health. Oh.
And an argument that lacks force is easily knocked down. It's feeble. A feeble argument.
Feeble. Doesn't hold up. Important distinctions. Let's talk about physical feeling tired.
Something we all know well.
Too well, but there are levels of tiredness, right?
Right.
What are more expressive alternatives?
Alternatives are exhausted, weary, and drained.
Exhausted, weary, drained.
So completely depleted after a long, hard day. You're exhausted.
Utterly spent.
Right. Feeling tired after prolonged mental or physical strain. That's feeling weary.
Weary.
A longer term fatigue, maybe? Could be. And feeling like your energy reserves are just gone. You look drained.
Drained, yeah, like an empty battery.
Yeah.
Those really capture the spectrum. Okay, back to emotions. Fear. The word scared. How can we describe being afraid more intensely, showing different degrees of fear.
The source offers terrified, fearful, and petrified.
Terrified, fearful, petrified.
So, overwhelming, intense dread, you're terrified.
Terrified of spiders, for example.
Exactly. A general feeling of apprehension or worry about danger. You feel fearful.
Fearful, more like anxiety, maybe.
Could be. And so intensely frightened, you're almost frozen. You're petrified.
Petrified, like turned to stone. Wow. Yep, much stronger than just scared. Okay, attractiveness. Starting with pretty.
Right. Common, positive, but maybe.
A bit basic sometimes. Are there more sophisticated ways to describe attractiveness with different connotations?
Yes. The source gives us beautiful, stunning, and elegant.
Beautiful, stunning, elegant.
Beautiful often suggests a deeper, more striking attractiveness, maybe inner qualities too.
More profound than pretty.
Often, yes. A view that's absolutely breathtaking. It's stunning, visually impressive.
Fine view. Yeah.
And if something address someone's manner has a refined, graceful quality, it's elegant.
Elegant suggests a style and grace.
Okay.
And the opposite, ugly.
Tricky one.
Yeah. Are there more nuanced, maybe less harsh ways to describe something unattractive?
The alternatives are unattractive, hideous, and unpleasant.
Unattractive, hideous, unpleasant.
Unattractive is probably the most neutral, general term. It's not pleasing to look at.
Less loaded than ugly.
Right. Hideous suggests extremely unattractive, maybe even offensive or shocking. A hideous sweater.
Hideous. Very strong.
And if a scene or object is just jarring, causes a negative feeling visually, it could be described as unpleasant.
Unpleasant. Okay, more about the feeling it evokes. Helpful ways to be precise, maybe kinder. Enjoyment now, starting with fun.
Good for casual chat.
Totally, but maybe not always professional enough. Alternatives for describing something enjoyable, maybe more formally.
The source suggests enjoyable, entertaining, and amusing.
Enjoyable, entertaining, amusing.
So an event that provides pleasure, satisfaction, it was enjoyable, a good general professional term.
Okay.
A movie that keeps you engaged, provides amusement. It's entertaining, focuses on holding interest.
Entertaining movie, makes sense.
And a story that makes you smile, maybe chuckle lightly. It's amusing, lighthearted enjoyment.
Amusing, got it.
Yeah.
And the opposite of fun, boring.
Ugh.
Huh. How can we be more descriptive about why something lacks interest?
For boring, we have dull, tedious, and monotonous.
Dull, tedious, monotonous.
So a movie lacking excitement or originality. It's dull. Fails to capture attention.
Dull, yeah, flat.
A lecture that's long, repetitive, unengaging. That sounds tedious. Implies tiresome effort.
Tedious, like a chore to listen to.
Exactly. And a speech with no variation in tone just drones on. That's monotonous. Repetitive and unengaging sound.
Monotonous. Right, pinpointing the reason for the boredom. Okay, nearly there. Wealth. Starting with rich.
Money talks. Or does it?
Well, rich is common, but are there more formal or nuanced ways to describe financial well-being?
Yes, the source gives wealthy, affluent, and prosperous.
Wealthy, affluent, prosperous.
Wealthy usually implies significant assets, financial security, a large amount of money.
Wealthy man, okay.
Affluent often describes a place, a neighborhood, maybe with a high standard of living, high average income.
An affluent area.
And prosperous suggests success, growth, flourishing. Maybe someone who became successful, she became prosperous.
Prosperous implies growth. Nice. And the opposite, poor.
Important to be sensitive here.
Definitely. What are more descriptive, perhaps more considerate ways to talk about lack of wealth?
The alternatives are impoverished, underprivileged, and destitute.
Impoverished, underprivileged, destitute.
Impoverished describes lacking basic necessities due to poverty. individuals or whole communities.
Impoverished, a state of being poor.
Yes. Underprivileged refers more to lacking opportunities and advantages compared to others, often due to socioeconomic factors.
Underprivileged background focuses on opportunity.
Right. And destitute is the most extreme. Utterly lacking essentials, food, shelter, extreme poverty.
Destitute, a very serious state. Wow. Okay. These are all really important distinctions. Using these more precise words, it really can change how we understand and talk about things, can't it?
Adds that layer of empathy, maybe, or just clarity.
Exactly. And the source material really emphasizes why this matters. It's not just about sounding smarter, is it?
Absolutely not. I mean, that might be a side effect, but as the source points out, using a more sophisticated vocabulary shows a deeper understanding.
Right. It lets you express your thoughts, your feelings, facts with much greater clarity. Precision. And that contributes to sounding more? What? Professional? Mature?
Yeah, both. Which in turn can lead to people taking you more seriously. Whether it's just chatting or giving a formal presentation or even in writing.
And the source even had that great example comparing a simple description of a trip versus a more professional one.
Oh yeah, that really highlights the difference.
Hearing them side by side, it's striking how much more engaging the upgraded version sounds.
It is. Instead of, I had a very good trip. The hotel was very nice. Food was good too.
Yeah, pretty basic.
The professional version is something like, I had an outstanding trip, the hotel was delightful, and the food was excellent.
It just paints such a better picture, doesn't it?
Yeah.
More vivid, more positive.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've explored all these fantastic alternatives, loads of them. But how do we actually start, using them, weaving them into how we talk every day?
Right, the practical side.
The source offers some really good, actionable tips for making this stick.
Yes, and they seem very manageable, which is key. The first one is start small.
Start small. Okay.
Don't try to overhaul everything at once. That's overwhelming. Instead, maybe pick, say, 5 simple words you overuse.
Like very or good.
Exactly. And then just learn 2 or 3 alternatives for each one. Really focus. Like, make a conscious effort to replace very good with excellent or outstanding.
That feels doable. Just focus on a few. What's the next tip?
Tip 2 is make a personal word list.
Okay, write it down.
Yeah. List those common words you want to use less and the stronger alternatives you're learning. Simple format: good, excellent, bad, terrible, very extremely.
Got it.
And then this is crucial: review that list regularly, maybe every day for a bit.
Yeah.
Just to keep those new words fresh in your mind, make them easier to grab when you need them.
Makes sense. Consistent reinforcement. What's tip number 3? For putting them into action.
Tip 3 is all about active practice. Consciously try to use these better words when you're speaking and writing.
In emails, messages.
Yep. Emails, messages, conversations. Catch yourself before you type, "Thank you for your nice support." Pause. Could it be delightful support or excellent support? Which fits better? Make that conscious choice.
It's about actively looking for those opportunities to integrate them. Okay, tip number 4, expanding through exposure.
Right. Tip 4 is read more professional English.
Like what?
The source suggests things like well-regarded newspapers, the New York Times, the Guardian, or watching informative stuff like TED Talks, listening to business podcasts.
Immerse yourself.
Exactly. You get exposed to richer vocabulary used naturally in context, and over time you start to absorb it. The source specifically mentions noticing how speakers in those contexts often avoid things like very good, using more nuanced language instead.
That's a great point. See them used in the wild. And the last tip for making it a long-term habit.
The final tip is to build a self-correction habit.
How does that work?
After you speak or write something, just take a quick moment. Reflect. Ask yourself, could I have said that differently? Used a stronger word? So if you realize you said very hard, maybe make a mental note. Next time, could I use challenging or difficult? It's that ongoing self-assessment, that little adjustment that helps you improve continuously.
Right. It's not about being perfect instantly, but about that constant awareness and tweaking.
Yeah.
These are all really valuable, really practical strategies.
Definitely seem helpful.
So to sort of wrap up our deep dive here, it seems really clear that choosing our words thoughtfully, it has a real impact. Moving beyond those simple, maybe overused words to more professional, precise alternatives, it helps people understand us better. Let's just express ourselves more clearly.
And helps us sound more confident, more intelligent, more persuasive too.
Yeah, it elevates the whole communication.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
By consciously swapping out those basic phrases for more sophisticated, more precise words, we really can improve how we connect with people personally and professionally.
It's about seeing the limits of simple language and actively reaching for something richer, more descriptive to get our point across with more. Well, impact.
Well said. Impact.
And we'll leave you, our listener, with that final thought from the source material. Words are power. Choose them wisely.
Powerful quote.
It is. So maybe start small, build that list, practice, read, reflect. Think about how this shift, even a subtle one in your vocabulary, might affect your daily interactions.
Could make a real difference.
Could indeed. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.